The Battle of Stalingrad, fought between the Axis powers led by Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union, is often regarded as one of the most pivotal confrontations of World War II. Spanning from August 23, 1942, to February 2, 1943, this brutal and unforgiving battle marked a turning point in the war, leading to a decisive Soviet victory. The city of Stalingrad, now Volgograd, became the epicenter of one of the largest and deadliest battles in human history. In this video, we will explore the key events, strategies, and consequences of the Battle of Stalingrad, providing a comprehensive overview of why this battle was a game-changer in the global conflict. The strategic importance of Stalingrad. Stalingrad, located on the western bank of the Volga River in southwestern Russia, was of immense strategic importance. Its position made it a critical industrial and transport hub. Control of Stalingrad would not only secure the southern flank of the Eastern Front but also provide access to the oil-rich Caucasus region, vital for Germany's war machine. For Adolf Hitler, capturing Stalingrad was not just a military objective but also a symbolic one, named after Soviet leader Joseph Stalin. The battle became a matter of honor and prestige. The Soviet Union, aware of the strategic significance of Stalingrad, fortified the city and made it a centerpiece of their defense strategy. The city was transformed into a heavily defended stronghold with an extensive network of fortifications, including bunkers, trenches, and barricades. The Soviets understood that holding Stalingrad would be crucial in preventing German dominance over the Eastern Front. The German offensive begins. The German offensive on Stalingrad commenced on August 23, 1942, with the Luftwaffe, German Air Force, launching a massive aerial bombardment. The initial assault aimed to demoralize Soviet defenders and pave the way for ground forces. The city's industrial area, civilian centers, and infrastructure were heavily damaged, causing widespread chaos and destruction. As German forces advanced, they encountered fierce resistance from Soviet troops and local militia. The battle quickly turned into a grueling urban warfare scenario, with both sides fighting house to house and street by street. The Germans, under the command of General Friedrich Paulus, faced unexpected challenges in the harsh Soviet winter and the resilient Soviet defense. Hitler's insistence on capturing the city at all costs led to the commitment of large numbers of German troops and resources, which ultimately contributed to the battle's protracted and bloody nature. The initial German successes were soon tempered by mounting Soviet resistance and logistical difficulties. Soviet counteroffensive and the encirclement. The turning point of the battle came with the Soviet counteroffensive Operation Uranus, launched on November 19, 1942. The Soviets, under the command of Generals Georgy Zhukov and Alexander Vasilevsky, executed a well-coordinated attack aimed at encircling the German Sixth Army. The counteroffensive utilized a combination of armored and infantry forces to strike at the weaker Romanian and Hungarian flanks, protecting the German positions. By November 23, the Soviet forces succeeded in encircling the German Sixth Army in Stalingrad, trapping approximately 300,000 German and Axis troops within the city. The encirclement cut off German supply lines and left the trapped forces in a desperate situation. Despite attempts to relieve the encircled forces, including Operation Winterstorm, the German relief efforts were unsuccessful. The struggle within the encirclement. Life within the encirclement became increasingly dire for the German troops. Supplies were scarce, and the harsh winter conditions exacerbated the suffering. The Soviet forces, relentless in their assault, continued to press their advantage, making it increasingly difficult for the Germans to maintain their positions. The encircled forces faced severe shortages of food, medical supplies, and ammunition. The Soviet strategy focused on exhausting the German forces through continuous pressure and attrition. The harsh winter weather, combined with the Soviets' tactical superiority, created a grim and untenable situation for the trapped Germans. Morale among the German troops declined, and the situation deteriorated as the battle dragged on. The German surrender and aftermath. As the situation became increasingly untenable, Hitler's refusal to authorize a full-scale withdrawal sealed the fate of the German Sixth Army. On January 31, 1943, General Paulus, now promoted to Field Marshal, was forced to surrender. The surrender marked the first time a German field marshal had been taken prisoner during World War II. The battle officially ended on February 2, 1943, with the surrender of the remaining German forces. The Soviet victory at Stalingrad was a turning point in the Eastern Front and the broader conflict. It marked the beginning of a series of Soviet offensives that would eventually push the German forces back to Berlin. The battle resulted in massive casualties on both sides, with estimates of up to 2 million people, including soldiers and civilians, affected by the fighting. 1. Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler's role in the Battle of Stalingrad was crucial and controversial. Hitler's insistence on holding the city, despite the deteriorating conditions, played a significant role in the battle's outcome. His refusal to allow General Paulus to break out or surrender led to the encirclement and eventual defeat of the German Sixth Army. Hitler's strategic misjudgments during this period demonstrated his increasing detachment from military realities and contributed to the eventual downfall of the Axis forces on the Eastern Front. 2. Joseph Stalin. Joseph Stalin, the Soviet leader, also played a critical role in the battle. His decision to make Stalingrad a symbol of Soviet resistance, despite the city's heavy losses, motivated the Soviet forces to fight tenaciously. Stalin's orders to hold the city at all costs were pivotal in rallying Soviet troops and civilians alike. His leadership, while often criticized for its harshness, was instrumental in the Soviet Union's ability to withstand the German assault and eventually turn the tide of the war. 3. General Friedrich Paulus. General Friedrich Paulus, commander of the German Sixth Army, faced immense pressure during the battle. Initially confident, Paulus and his troops were gradually worn down by Soviet resistance and the encirclement. Paulus's reluctance to disobey Hitler's orders to retreat, despite the dire situation, led to the surrender of his forces. His surrender marked a significant blow to German morale and demonstrated the consequences of rigid adherence to high command directives. 4. General Georgy Zhukov. General Georgy Zhukov was one of the key Soviet commanders responsible for planning and executing the Soviet counteroffensive. His strategic acumen and ability to coordinate large-scale operations were crucial in the success of Operation Uranus. Zhukov's leadership and understanding of the operational landscape enabled the Soviet forces to encircle and trap the German Sixth Army, marking a turning point in the Eastern Front. 5. General Alexander Vasilevsky. General Alexander Vasilevsky was another key Soviet leader who played a crucial role in the battle. As the chief of the Soviet General Staff, he was instrumental in coordinating the Soviet counteroffensive and implementing the overall strategy. Vasilevsky's contributions were vital in orchestrating the complex maneuvers that led to the encirclement of the German forces and the eventual Soviet victory. The human cost and civilian impact. The Battle of Stalingrad was not only a military confrontation but also a devastating humanitarian crisis. The battle resulted in enormous civilian casualties and suffering. The city, which was heavily populated, was subjected to intense bombardment and ground fighting, leading to widespread destruction and loss of life. 1. Civilian suffering. The civilian population of Stalingrad endured immense hardship. Many civilians were killed during the aerial bombardments and street battles. Those who survived faced starvation, exposure to the harsh winter conditions, and the constant threat of violence. The Soviet government made efforts to evacuate civilians, but many remained trapped within the city throughout the battle. 2. Displacement and refugee crisis. The battle caused significant displacement as residents fled from the front lines. Many people were forced to leave their homes and seek refuge in safer areas. The displacement resulted in a large refugee crisis, with many people struggling to find shelter and resources. The post-battle reconstruction of the city was an arduous process, and the Soviet government had to address the needs of the displaced population. 3. Psychological impact. The psychological impact of the battle on both soldiers and civilians was profound. The trauma of witnessing and participating in such intense and prolonged combat left lasting scars. The battle's brutality and the high casualties affected the mental health of those involved, contributing to a pervasive sense of suffering and loss. The aftermath and legacy of Stalingrad. The Battle of Stalingrad left a lasting legacy on World War II and beyond. Its significance extends beyond the immediate military victory and encompasses broader strategic, political, and cultural implications. Strategic implications. The Soviet victory at Stalingrad marked the beginning of a series of Soviet offensives that would eventually push the German forces out of the Soviet Union. The battle demonstrated the Soviet Union's ability to withstand and ultimately overcome the Axis powers, shifting the balance of power on the Eastern Front. The defeat also exposed the weaknesses in the German military strategy and contributed to the gradual decline of Nazi influence in Eastern Europe. Psychological impact. The defeat at Stalingrad had a profound psychological impact on both the German and Soviet sides. For the Germans, the loss was a significant blow to morale and a turning point in the war's psychological narrative. The battle's outcome shattered the myth of German invincibility and boosted Soviet confidence. For the Soviets, the victory was a symbol of resilience and determination, reinforcing their resolve to continue fighting until the war's end. Cultural and historical significance. The Battle of Stalingrad has become a symbol of resistance and determination in popular culture and historical memory. The battle is often depicted in literature, film, and other media as a representation of the struggle against overwhelming odds. The city itself was rebuilt after the war and renamed Volgograd in honor of the victory. The battle's legacy continues to be studied and remembered as a crucial moment in the history of World War II. Lessons learned. The Battle of Stalingrad provides important lessons in military strategy, leadership, and the human cost of war. It highlights the importance of flexibility in military planning, the impact of leadership decisions on the outcome of battles, and the enduring human consequences of conflict. The battle serves as a reminder of the complexities and challenges of warfare and the need for resilience in the face of adversity. The Battle of Stalingrad remains one of the most significant and studied battles in history. Its outcome was a turning point in World War II, marking the beginning of the end for Nazi Germany's ambitions in the East. The battle's legacy endures as a testament to the bravery, resilience, and sacrifices of those who fought and endured through one of the most harrowing periods of human conflict. Thank you for joining us in exploring the Battle of Stalingrad. If you found this video insightful, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth historical content. Share your thoughts and questions in the comments below, and stay tuned for our next video on another pivotal moment in history. The Battle of Stalingrad stands as one of the most significant and decisive battles in history. It marked the end of German expansion in the Soviet Union and the beginning of a Soviet offensive that would eventually lead to the downfall of Nazi Germany. The battle showcased the brutal nature of World War II and the immense sacrifices made by both sides. It remains a symbol of resilience and determination in the face of overwhelming odds. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informative, please like, share, and subscribe for more content on historical events and battles.